We're the Real Talk Trio.
and we're back for a new episode. And today we're reviewing Hamnet, directed by Chloé Zhao. No, Zhao.
Yeah, you said
Zhao.
Zhao. Oh my gosh, I literally googled how to say her name because I want to pronounce it correctly, but
You
it's
did.
Zhao.
You did. It's out.
Zhao. Okay, let's just get into the episode. So, any fun facts? The fun facts is that William Shakespeare actually had 3 children, and one of them was named Hamnet. And Hamnet unfortunately passed away, which that inspired to write Hamlet, which is one of the biggest Shakespeare like stories that is out there. And so Hamnet, the movie, is based on that story. It's not 100% true, obviously, because we can't really figure out how all of that happened, but it's definitely we've been known that there's inspiration from that. So we know that Chloe Zhao has won an Oscar for directing, and she also has directed. If you're a Marvel fan, she also did Eternals,
So good.
and also like the actors. Well, I mean, Paul Mescal started in Normal People, which broke my heart, and we know the actress. Oh my gosh,
Jessie Buckley.
Jessie Buckley.
Jessie
Yeah.
Buckley. She's gonna be in the new movie. Which, funny enough, we did an episode on Frankenstein, and she's literally gonna play the bride and the movie Bride, and with Frankenstein with Christian Bale, the one that we forgot was doing another Frankenstein.
Oh, it was him.
Yes,
Okay.
it was him. So
There we go. Another fun fact.
So I guess this is our facts. Is there any more facts that you guys know?
Oh yeah, Nora, you were saying about like the actors, the one that play the little kid that plays Hamnet and the one that plays Hamlet.
Yeah, no, they're just like there's actually whoa, can't speak. There are 2 people in the movie that are related, and it's just funny. Not funny, but it's just like kind of like
So what's fun about it is that the kid who plays Hamnet, his real brother, plays Hamlet in the movie because they're doing a recreation of Hamlet in the movie, and they're actually related, which is actually it is cute. I think it's fun when you get to work with your brother and like be in the same movie, and especially it's a really good movie. So
I'm so bad at speaking.
No. Stop it.
Cut the mic.
Thy mouth speaketh
Thy
beautiful
false.
words.
Oh. To be or not to be, that is thy question, and to continue or to not continue, that is also thy question.
And that question is, what are your likes or dislikes?
Damn.
I love this movie so much. 5 stars, a heart, love it. I love it. Love.
That's it.
That's it.
Bye guys. Really
I mean, I'm really excited to know Clara's because
Me?
a little fun fact on Clara,
Oh.
she's a huge Shakespeare fan.
Yeah.
And so I would love to hear your
I'm
likes
like
and
a
your opinions on it.
second dumb person that likes Shakespeare, but she's like a top tier Shakespeare fan that knows her shit, and like I come after.
And then I'm like really at the bottom of the pyramid.
Like
at the bottom of the pyramid.
I love Shakespeare, but not that much to know much. But yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to why you gave it 3.
You gave it 3.
Did I?
Oh, my bad.
Wait, no.
Yeah,
hold
I
on.
gotta check that
I
out.
actually
My
don't
apologies.
remember. Okay, yeah, I never gave it stars actually on Letterboxd because I'm still gonna do that. But this movie for me, it was like beautiful. I already knew I knew a little bit about Shakespeare's like personal life because of the English class I took in college. So I knew that he had Judith and Hamnet, like the 2
Mhm.
youngest kids, and Susanna was the oldest. But to me, the beauty of this movie is to really realize how personal Shakespeare works were to him. You know, it wasn't just like, I mean, he wrote fiction, but every play has a little bit of truth, and that one specifically, when you see the movie and you really like see what happened like to him and how tragic it was that his son died, how hard it was for him to live apart from his family, I feel like that just adds another layer to the story, and it really made me appreciate like Shakespeare that much more because I feel like his plays feel really grandiose, you know what I mean, because it's Shakespeare.
Mhm.
But I think it's nice to think about them as something like really intimate as well.
I actually mentioned that in my letterbox. William is a writer, and watching him transform his guilt and pain into art felt devastating and intimate. The delivery, okay, so in my like favorite, not favorite scene per se, but a scene that really stuck with me, and ironically, it's when he says, The delivery "to be or not to be" spoken while he's looking at the moon felt like a confession. In that moment, the question becomes deeply personal. To be alive or dead, to struggle, live what? Oh, sorry. To be alive or dead, or to be a good father or a failed one, or to honor his son in memory, or to be consumed by it. It I feel like that seeing that part, it did feel very intimate. I felt like it was so touching. This movie was so touching for me in many aspects, and I did say like it was touching in the family aspect, the fatherhood, like the motherhood, the women giving birth and all that stuff. Like it was so intimate in every aspect, but like also being a movie about Shakespeare, you know? So I agree with that. So
What
Me,
about you?
honestly, I will say my little anecdote that I brought up last
Yes, say
episode.
it.
Okay, so I went to see it with Clara, okay? And I again with zero expectations. I mean a little bit of expectations because I knew what Hamlet was. I obviously we all studied Shakespeare. And before literally we're in the theater, the movie was about to start. I go to Clara, it's like, this is a movie about like about Hamlet, right? She's like, yeah. So then
Yeah.
so then as the movie went along, I thought this movie was about the story Hamlet. I didn't think I didn't know it was about William Shakespeare's life. So this whole time I was waiting for someone to like either die or like be traumatized or something. And I didn't know who the hell was Hamlet. I was like, who is Hamlet in the story? And then when the kid came and they called him Hamlet, I'm like, oh, so that's Hamlet. So he's gonna become a king and he's gonna kill his family. I was so confused. And then Paul Mescal goes and says to be or not to be. So I was like, oh wait, so he's Hamlet. Is this like a meta thing?
No, she was
And
really
then
trying to like.
I was so you said I was confused. I was literally confused for like the whole movie until the end, where they finally reveal that Paul Mescal was William Shakespeare.
they
I go,
reveal him like halfway near the end. It's like we're looking for William
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
yeah, but no, because no, I realized when they she got sent the play, and I realized it's the play. So I'm like, wait, this is not the play. The play exists. So I look at Clara. So I'm like, wait, is he Shakespeare? And she goes, yes. And I'm like, I'm so dumb. This whole time I was waiting for the plot of Hamlet, and I like what you said about William Shakespeare. Of like, because when you think about William Shakespeare, you think of this grandiose man, of this the man that changed literature and that he just became this big name. And then seeing that made me realize that yeah, like seeing him as literally just a normal human being like us, that he lived, he fell in love and he had a life. And then so like and this little humor of me just being confused. At the same time, I really like what you said because it's true. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think after putting the name that like a picture to the name, I did change my perception because I was like, oh, so he is the William Shakespeare, and I'm like, I'm shocked that he's not like loved, and because I keep forgetting that that's how his career started. Just a simple man with a dream, and how he was doing all these things. So it's like it was very nice getting to see this different perspective and a very human perspective. So like I really loved the movie. I mean, I wish I knew about more about the plot before I went to. I think I would have loved it more. But I think also the surprise of it all really made me like it was such an emotional movie, and like anything that's emotional just really gets me. Like I'm looking an empath. So like I
Oh.
I like I feel and like the last scene was just like, can I just go into my legs?
Go.
Okay. One thing I really, really loved was that last scene. I mean, it was just, and I remember I talked to it with one of our friends, and I said that like it really reminded us of like that's what theater is. And I feel like theater is such an underrated art that a lot of people just don't seem to understand. That's why they just like don't go, or like they don't try to go. But like that last scene, as much as it was like, there's many ways to interpret it.
Interpret. Yeah.
Like I saw a lot of people talk about how it's a way of like how we all feel grief and we all feel connected and we all feel what the story of Hamlet goes, bless you,
Thank you.
goes through. So like them holding each other and them holding the hand, like like that, like that wave of hands is a way of like to know that we're all connected through grief. But I saw it as this is what theater is.
Hmm.
This is literally what theater is. How we're all connecting, we're all feeling, we're all being in this moment and feeling what this character is feeling. Because as much as I love movies and as much as I love how, you can feel, and like I said, like when it is an emotional movie, I really feel what they're feeling, but it's not the same when it's in real. Like a lot of the times you can see those micro like
Whoa, we just went racial.
micro expressions. Oh my gosh.
Microaggression.
Oh la la.
When you see those oh my god. When you see those micro expressions and you see how this person feels, it's a really different like oh my gosh. Please don't cancel me.
You need to go to therapy.
I haven't gone
First
therapy. Oh my gosh. Anyways, you know what I mean? So it's like
Okay.
when I saw that, I was like, it was generally really beautiful, and so for me, that was definitely one of my like.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, say your truth, girl.
This is what I like. I'm kind of reading what I wrote in my letterbox because this is also one of the biggest review I've ever written in my life. Because mind you, I texted these because I didn't go with you guys, but I texted them and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm going in. I'm gonna watch Hamnet," and like I was already purely like sad before I started. Never in my life a movie made me cry from the beginning. In the beginning.
In the beginning. I'm still,
In the
I'm
beginning.
still laughing already. Get it out. Get it out.
Clara is just straight up dying from the fact that I said
And
micro aggressions by accident.
No, it was the way you said it anyway.
No, because it's like I saw my brain saying whoa. I was like, I knew I was saying the wrong thing when I meant to say micro expressions, not micro aggressions. Please don't do micro aggressions. Thank you.
Okay, I'll get it out of my system.
Oh my god. I'm over here talking about how I cried
I'm
my
sorry.
life out in this.
But that was really funny too.
Yeah, that was.
It was, but it was.
It was.
You cried for 3 days.
I
after.
did. I did cry for 3 days, and I went by myself in the movie theater, so I had mascara running down my face, and I didn't know. And I literally went out like this until I got to the bathroom and I wiped it off. Anyways, but this is what I wrote in my. This is like a part of my review, and this is what it connects to what you were saying. The performance of Hamlet is profoundly moving. The most crushing moment belongs to Agnes when she's watching the play and feels herself reconnecting to her son. Boundaries between reality, memory, and art dissolves. Like oh my god. Anyway, sorry. The scene where she reaches out towards the actor, believing just for 1 second that that is her son, is what theater is to me. This is what movies are to me. Art reaches out when words fail. It reshapes grief into something you can touch, feel, and survive. That is what absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Because that is like with no words. Zoe literally put that out on this big screen and I was watching
Zoe?
Zoe?
Chloe.
Chloe.
Guys.
Oh,
That was a microaggression right there.
I sincerely
I was
apologize.
like, who the hell is Zoe?
I will explain why I said Zoe.
I was like,
In my head, I'm dyslexic, so for me, Chloe and Zhao, that starts with the letter Z.
oh.
I just Zoe. So
I see.
I apologize. It was dyslexia at its finest peak.
That's your first cancel apology.
Screenshot.
Hi guys, it's Nora, and I sincerely apologize for calling Chloé Zhao as Zoe. It like ruined the moment, but like that's what she effortlessly like displayed what film, acting, theater, art, just art in general is to the world, and that's what Shakespeare poured his life out in. And I think we also saw that in the clip where he got angry that he couldn't write something and he lashed out at Angus, but then 2 minutes after apologized and then went back, but couldn't allow himself to admire her. Like she kind of hugged him and he's like, can you just don't like that's his way of like living and expressing. And I think it's just nice. It's nice to see how everyone kind of molds around art and expresses themselves around art and within art and become art themselves. So it's nice to kind of see that for Shakespeare.
Yeah.
What about other likes you guys might have?
Um, this is a like for me, but maybe some people might not like it because at the beginning of my review, I say like I like that the story's a slow burn. There are moments where I was like, okay, cut to the chase. Maybe the love scene was a bit too long and awkward for me. Um, but I liked that it was a slow burn because every scene that would happen, it would linger. You would stay with it. You wouldn't forget the clip 2 minutes after because that scene of her giving birth in the forest, like it stays with you till like the next actual scene where another person comes in the camera. And I kind of liked that playing ground of time. I know it might feel a bit long and I
That's how
guess
I felt.
yeah, it could I agreed, like it was pros and cons again, it worked out in some parts, and then in some parts I was like it's a bit long.
I don't know. I feel like even though it was long, I kind of like the pace.
Yeah.
I feel like it made sense for the movie, and I feel like you said, a lot of the moments you literally linger with it, like, and especially like, how do I explain this? Like, oh my god, I'm saying like a lot.
Like
um, the parts where they're living in the house and they're building their family, like, I don't know how to say it, but I just really enjoyed those moments because looking back now, they felt very short. You know how how they got to experience that life with Hamnet, yeah,
yeah.
with Hamnet and everybody, and it's like when you're watching the movie, it feels long, but now rewatching it, you realize they were so short. Like they barely lived with their kids, and like that then hurts even more thinking how they barely lived with their kids, and then Hamnet passed away, and it's just like that's why I feel like I don't know. I didn't mind the pace. I liked it. I think for the first time for a really long pace movie, I didn't hate it.
I loved
Hmm.
it.
I feel though, like for me, it was not like the pace, like in the storytelling and like the timeline that felt long. It was more like the shots. Like
Mm.
some shots would linger, like the action was finished, but you still like have a couple of seconds of like just the character. Like that for me, I understand that maybe it was so you could like linger in the moment and like really reflect on what happened, so then you could move on, but not forget like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that felt too long. Like whenever there was a shot and the action was done, dialogue was done, and we kept like looking at it, it would just like take me out.
Mm.
Mm.
But not take me out so I could like reflect on it. Just take me out like, okay, what's next?
Mm.
Like looking at Rachel to see what's going on, looking at people around me, you know?
But I feel like that's her style, and that's why
Yeah.
I think she's one of my favorite directors.
It is her style, so
Yes.
Because
like I understand, but that was a slight dislike to me.
I understand. I mean, after I watched Eternals, I truly fell in love with her like cinematography, and like she really knows how to play the moments with the camera, and like she really knows how to play with lighting and everything. So like especially with, like, Agnes, every time she would be in the forest, and especially when she gave birth, that scene was
Wow.
so good. That scene, like the way, and I love that she wasn't on center. Like that's something she really knows how to play with the camera. Like she wasn't fully centered. She was like on the side, and like you
Mhm.
see her give birth, and like you really, she really, ooh, that's something. I'm hitting something there. She really knows how to like put you fully in the scene.
That's true.
She really knows, like with the sounds, with the lighting, with everything. Like when she was giving birth, I was like breathing with her, like the stress and like the stress of her giving birth in the forest without any assistance, without anything, and just fully bringing this child on this world. Like it was so beautifully done
Yeah.
that like that's why I think like I want to see way more movies with her because she really scratches an itch as a person who loves cinematography and loves this part of like cinema. She really scratches that itch for me. So like that's why I completely understand your point of view, but like I disagree a bit.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, like I really like. I feel like Eternals didn't have those
No.
like shots, but I really like her style, especially cinematography wise. I really liked those shots of like when Hamnet was dying, him going through like a door in the dark, and that kept like appearing in the movie. And then at the end, you notice that it's like, actually him going backstage and becoming like history, becoming art after he
Mhm.
passed away. Like
But also,
That
can
was so good.
I really
Nora's
want to
getting sentimental.
but I really want to talk about that moment, no, because I noticed it, and I think I don't know if you had noticed it too, but like, cause one that broke my that broke my
That-
heart. No, it really broke my heart seeing Agnes not giving birth in the forest for her twins.
I was so
mm,
upset for that.
But I think you see, and I think no, I'm saying that that's why he died, but I'm just saying that like it feels like there's a deeper meaning of like why he died because he wasn't in the forest, and so
mm.
when
No, sorry. No, I went.
she was.
No, it's just like it's. I agree. Like it.
Don't cry.
No.
I won't cry. It's just. um, it's I know what you mean. That's exactly what I thought. I feel like she kind of holds it against herself sometimes because of that. And she cried so much, like she was in agony for going to the forest and she wasn't allowed. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, continue.
And I'm not saying like obviously this is based on real life story, but let's say if we were using this fictional spiritual world, like
Mhm.
it feels like the reason why Hamnet died is because he wasn't able to fully be born where he was meant to be born because it was said in the movie that every single person in her family always be born in the forest. Like it was
Yeah.
a thing, and it was a thing in their lives, and so the fact that these kids weren't born in the forest was like it was huge, and you saw it because then one of them died literally at birth, and then she gave him life, and then I'm relating it back to the ending when Hamnet died. He's going back into the forest because yes, it's a set, but it's a forest,
Oh my god, yes.
and so for me that felt like he was going back to where he always was meant to be, and I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if there was always more to it. I don't know if the door.
Oh my
What?
god.
I don't know if the door is blue, but for me,
It's black.
It was black.
It's black.
it's blue with some gold trims, bro. Because honestly, like,
Is the dress blue or black or white
Or
and gold?
gold.
because honestly, like, that was just beautiful to see. And like when I noticed that, it made me want to cry even more. Like I didn't cry, but like I felt like crying. I didn't cry because I felt embarrassed crying in the cinema. Like I don't like crying in the
I
cinema.
was by myself and I walked out with dirty mascara everywhere, guys. Put a picture right here. Look how crazy I look.
But yeah, and I just think that if that was the case, I think that's a beautifully like done like symbolism of showing him going back to where he always was meant to be.
Yeah. I think one of my likes too, it's just how talking about the actors now and not so much about the director, just how like vulnerable they went and how the acting is just like so like raw and visceral. To me, like those birth scenes really stood out because the way like Jessie Buckley would just like scream and groan, like growl, not groan. She would scream and growl. Um, it was scary. It made me not want to have kids ever because I'm like, no. But that's it. Like you feel it. You feel it in your body. You feel it in your breathing. And to me, that's just really beautiful. And that kid that plays Hamnet, he's just so impressive, so sensitive. His acting is also just like top tier. Honestly, like
he has to be recognized at least if win an award like he melted my heart. And oh, are you done?
Yep.
Like, sorry, one of my likes, well, a few of my likes, because it was very similar to you guys, is cinematography. Stillness and long shot forces the audiences to sit with the emotion. I liked it. Hamnet's tenderness, like the boy, oh my god, like, look at me, give me the sickness, we'll go to the sickness together. Like, are you well? Like, are you well? That's crazy. Do not do this to me right now. The scene with his sister, he's so selfless, he's innocent, he's pure. Like, he's whatever Shakespeare told him to be. You know what I mean? Be strong, take care of your mom, take care of your sisters, be the man of the family. And so selfless. Like, oh my god. And then obviously, like, another thing I mentioned was like how William takes on his form of art. I obviously, this is just like the way it was written and the way the actors took on these roles. William's like transformation of his guilt and pain and emotions, making it into art, and then, you know, for Agnes to watch the show, like, I really love those moments. And I think I was supposed to say Zoe again. My apologies. I think Chloe played a lot with visuals rather than like you know how
Oh my gosh, what the Hold up.
Meow 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 meow.
know that modern films these days kind of say and not show anymore just because for streaming purposes, if I may. And I think Chloe breaks it and these actors take on with it, and I love that. And I think most of the touching moments were really what was on the screen and what was not being said. I think that's where like her stillness and her loneliness of the shots work effortlessly, and that is what really like really aced it up for me. Aced it up, that's not a thing to say. That really aimed it high for me, I guess. And then I know this movie is about William Shakespeare, but for a movie about a person that's not really in it, I feel like Agnes's emotional arc, um, her connecting with the actor that is playing Hamlet, her and her forest, her and her bond with William, her and her motherhood. It's such a touching movie for both parents and both people in both worlds that kind of merge together. And I think that was also effortlessly done, of course, with the actor's work and the director's work. Those are my likes.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I really appreciate it too. Even though the movie was not about that, but like getting to know how people lived back then, especially like how much connected to nature they were.
Mm.
You know how, I mean, her connection to the forest, like we were saying, but also like how connected they were to plants and their like healing powers, and she would like pass on her knowledge on plants to her children, so they would know like, oh, you use this plant when you feel like this, and this one, um, is meant for this. And you really see it like in Shakespeare's plays. He's mentioning plants all the time to create metaphors, um, plants as like antidotes for stuff, you know, plants as magic ingredients in a witch's brew. So that was really like interesting
Mm-hmm.
to see. And I really like what you said, Nora, because the story was about like Hamlet and William Shakespeare, but like somehow like Agnes was like the central figure, and I really love that because back then the women would never be the central figure,
Yeah.
you know. But it really shows like that world not through like a man's perspective. It was really about like the mother figure and how she was like basically like the one holding that household together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Without her, like William Shakespeare could never be William Shakespeare, you know.
Exactly.
I think the movie really like made a good point about that.
Like womanhood, yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's what I love about like Shakespeare's work being like redone and reimagined because there's so many ways of doing it. And obviously this is not like the Shakespeare work like completely like reimagined but it's inspired from it. But it like oh my my stomach was rumbling.
Hamlet's hungry.
Um but it's just that it just shows how even his story, his life and his work just has so much emotion. And I think there's a reason why he's known as one of the best like writers ever in all of times because it really stands. And I don't know, hearing about you guys, it really reminds me when we went to go see Romeo and Juliet. We went to go see Romeo and Juliet in New York with Rachel Ziegler and Kit Connor, and I was I remember seeing like I was like almost about to cry at the end because I just the emotion is just there. Like in his writing, okay, she doesn't want to stay, so we're gonna let her go. The emotions, the writing, the way, and it's just that it's so like so well done that this movie really represents Shakespeare's work like that too. And I think I don't know how to explain it, but like I'm happy that like whoever was part of this team was part of this team because they really made this movie. Because I can't imagine someone else who maybe didn't have the greatest intentions or the greatest vision to do this. I feel like it wouldn't be as good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I honestly props to Chloe, props to every single person in that team who made that possible because it's just so well done and like they really carried the emotions really
Yeah.
deeply.
Do you guys have any dislikes? I feel like my only dislike was the lingering shots because apart from that, honestly, like that movie was like so freaking great.
I don't really have dislikes, honestly.
I just wrote like, I guess like pros and cons, like things I liked I know could become a dislike, but like the pace, like for me honestly, now that I'm thinking about the movie, like I really liked it. I love slow burn movies like that. Recently I rewatched Gladiator 2, and that's a long movie, but
Mm,
like movies of periodic pieces I feel like makes sense to be long, if that makes sense. But I'm not saying like make a 5 hour movie of like back in the day, but I feel like it works with the world it's in.
It depends the
So
deepness of
yeah,
it too.
exactly. Like I feel like in my opinion, Gladiator 2 is also like a heavy movie. That's another thing I do mention. Like for me, it was a plus. So I don't even know if it's a dislike, but it is an extremely emotional movie. My letterbox became my therapy session for this movie. And I don't think I've ever, other than other one other movie, but I wrote like 3 to 4 paragraphs about this, and it's so touching, and it's beautiful that a movie like this, or like a timeline of Shakespeare, can be so relevant to this day, and he's always going to be relevant, and not just Shakespeare, but everything that whole family went through. Grief is everywhere. Grief is always, and that's one thing I love about like the script, is that I kind of talk about it in symbolism of like grief turning into theater, but you kind of have an idea that that is the idea of the movie. It seeps in slowly and slowly. That's how when Shakespeare goes in and out for his London trips and then coming back, like you can slowly sense that grief is coming. Whether you know Hamlet or not, you can tell it's
You
a
can tell that something is gonna come.
yeah.
exactly. And I think it's such a heavy movie, and I was okay with that. I went in having a bad day, and I was okay with that. I cried for 3 days straight, feeling everything, from what it felt like to have my dad, or like what it felt like to, have an argument with my mom, or what it felt like to miss my friend. Like it's so funny, but this movie seeps in my life too. And I think it's like a absolute cinema. I think I'm just gonna ramble, but it's absolute cinema in my opinion. And see, like dislike, or like like I don't really have much dislike. And then I wrote that like some of her scenes felt abstract, but I actually don't even know what I mean by that. Let me just say that.
I think I know. Yeah, there was some scenes where there would be like no dialogue, where I think it was just like purely symbolic. You know, like
Yeah.
it was just a simple action, like walking in the woods or like being to the household. But then I think it was up to us to really make sense of that,
Yeah,
right?
that sometimes I wrote that like sometimes it took me out, but then sometimes it didn't, because like I said, she didn't write a movie where everything had to be said. She wrote a movie where everything had to be shown and you had to see it. So I think like
Yeah,
there were some moments where I was like, oh, but then like just like she makes you linger with it. So when I lingered with it, I was like, okay, I get it.
you're right. I feel like a lot of those abstract moments, like you said, she was not trying to. It wasn't about you like understanding it from like a rational perspective. It was about like you feeling it like in your
Yeah.
gut. It was just about feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's like such a beautiful thing. For me, like you said, that movie was like so it was like a perfect catharsis, you know?
Yes.
Like you cried and you felt that grief and the pain and everything, but you felt good after it.
Yeah.
Like after letting all the
Yes.
emotions like go through your
Yeah.
body, you're like, okay.
And I feel like that's what Agnes felt too. I feel like because for those who haven't watched or do want to watch or anything, um, in the movie after Hamnet died, Agnes doesn't have that relationship with William anymore like that much. Because it shows that's what I like. It shows really the full story of them meeting, them falling in love, them starting a family, the grief of it all, and then the aftermath of it all. And I think we see in that moment that William and Agnes finally like understand each other, understand each other's griefs, and I feel like because us as characters, we also are setting more weight to Agnes because we've seen more of her side.
Yeah.
We also see his grief too, and I think it was so beautifully done. And I think in that moment, like you've saying, she realizes the depth of it all, and she realizes that he's grieving too, just in a different way. And and it just shows how grief is very different for everyone, and just how
She
yeah.
fully understands that he too, because throughout the movie, well, when Hamnet passes away, she keeps on being bitter with him, being like, you weren't there, and what were you doing out there? What were you doing over there? And he has a lot on his chest, I assume. I'm not Shakespeare. He has a lot on his chest that he can't say, and so for him to put that play out, that's, I think that's, not only did she reconnect with Hamnet and like reconnect with the grief, but I think that's the moment where she understands that, yes, my husband is also grieving. Yes, I think I understand now that we are both in the same spot. We are both in the same situation. And I think maybe after that they were okay, you know?
But that's true. I think, like for me, the most beautiful scenes were like we mentioned, when Agnes like holds Hamlet, like the actor's hand in the theater, and then everyone starts like putting their hand out. But also like that moment where Agnes and Shakespeare look at each other when he's like backstage,
Mhm.
and they just start kind of like smiling at each other. I feel like that was the moment that they accepted, like
Yeah.
it was a
Mm-hmm.
moment of forgiveness and accepting that they were both playing important roles. Like she was staying behind, taking care of the family. He had no other choice to support his family but be in London and be a famous artist. You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
there was pressure on both. They
Mm-hmm.
were both, like you said, going through grief in different ways. Like she was crying and reflecting. He was writing and like putting all of his emotions, working them out, like through theater.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, again, it goes to what you're saying about like show not tell. Like that was all we needed. Like that look was all we needed. Just like La La Land, when they look at each other, that's all we need to understand that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And I just love that she plays with that, with like with wordless scenes, if that
Yeah, she's
that's
very
a
like
Mhm.
minimalistic, but like
yeah.
in those like minimum details, like they say so much.
But because she knows how to play with the camera. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying. Like she really
Yes.
knows how to set up the scene, set up the moment, set up as well the sounds and everything. Like she really like
Yeah.
she clearly. I love that she clearly has a vision. She knows where she's going with it, and every moment leads to another. And it's just and also I just want to touch upon like when you said the acting is really raw. Like I feel like a lot of people don't understand because one thing that's not an issue, but one thing that people say a lot about acting is that acting is easy. You just say your lines and you say what you're gonna do, right? And like there's certain for sure there's certain like genres that are easier than others because you just kind of like pick up on it and pick up the way you act with it. But I want people to understand that this type of acting is extremely hard to do because as a human being, just as a human being, you don't really feel like crying in front of others. You know what I mean? And if you're someone that just is not sensitive, it doesn't cry, it is super terrifying. And it's really terrifying because especially in a world right now where everybody cares what they look like and everything, nobody wants to ugly cry. Nobody wants to like look bad. You know what I mean? And it's like and it's a lot of things on top of another, you know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of, for example, clips of people being like, "Oh my gosh, she's such a ugly crier" and stuff like that, which it adds to all these things, right? So the fact that these people not only were so raw with how they cried and screamed and everything, but they were so raw and they really just exposed themselves. And like one thing that I've been told and we keep saying about acting is really is just exposing yourself. It's like a mirror and just showing every single little part of you and a part of yourself. And it's such a hard thing to do because I mean, even us when we're learning how to like act and everything, like they were even telling us that like that's the hardest part of acting. It's not saying your line a certain way. It's not the the tone of it all or how you're gonna say it. It's really are you willing to put yourself in that position and are you willing to put yourself and be watched and be watched in that position. And that's really hard. So seeing like you were saying those pregnancy scenes where she's giving birth and everything, like they're so raw because she truly went there and it's so and as a movie lover but as an actress I respect this movie so much because it truly is a work of. That's why I feel like I don't have dislikes. I mean, obviously I can nitpick on stuff, but I don't want to nitpick because the overall of it all is so good, and just the acting is a whole other level. And I'm so sad that Paul did not get nominated because
And Chloe too,
yeah,
because she deserved
no,
the nomination as
literally
director.
because I think throughout this whole year, well, 2025, I think that has been one of the truest and rawest movies out there. And I think I want
Yeah.
this. I think people should study this film when it comes to acting because you don't understand the mental of putting yourself to just do all that, and it's a whole other level. And yeah.
I want to say something. Oh my god. Like I was like I think you could see in the screen. I'm like
No.
um whatever you said about actor, this is you speaking from your perspective. Guess what? The scene where William or Shakespeare, man, pick one. Where William goes, "You are simply mouthing the words. Say it again. Say it again." You literally described that whole scene. And that's what people think, "Oh, it's easy to be an actor because you're just mouthing the words." You have to eat, breathe, and live with those words. Say those words as if they are your words and not mouthing it. And I think that was such a like it was such a satisfying scene to see from Shakespeare's like perspective of a director. And I think that and Paul's acting as he said that was so good. Like too good.
And then he proceeds to act like it's like
And then he
like a
just
meta thing. You know what I mean? Like yeah, he's like
he takes over. He says the
yeah,
line.
but then it's still Paul acting, trying to teach how to act, and like it's so good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
And I think like whatever you were saying about like our world is literally what Shakespeare, like that's literally the scene,
Yeah.
you
No.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like you do only. And that thing is really like easy to judge him, be like, oh, he's being so nitpicky because he's like
No.
mad about his son. But only if you're an artist will you understand that like he's so right. You
Yeah.
can't just say the words.
Mm-mm.
Just don't just say the words. You need to feel the emotion. You need to like do
Well,
justice.
not even just feel the emotion because what we've been told, and I completely agree with this. I think the hardest part of acting is not just saying and feeling, is making it sure that it's believable and real. Because it's like someone who takes a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? You've seen in movies where they're like you know what I mean, and it looks so fake. But like then you as an actor, and keep in mind half of those cups are empty, so you have to like make yourself believe. Okay, the cup is full. I have to make it look full. I have to drink like this, and then it looks robotic because then you're as an actor, you're overthinking everything. So then you have to like be like, no, I have to make it like believable. So you're trying to like, practice trying to pick up a cup and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like that's definitely the hardest part of acting, is just making really like natural, and then making you as the audience generally believe that this person, whatever they're feeling, is so true, and they completely captured with it. And like you've said, like we see it in the movie that he's like teaching that and showing that, and I love this movie.
Yeah.
It was definitely a highlight of me. And I really, as an actor, if you really love your craft, I would definitely recommend that you watch this movie.
Yeah.
And not just watch it in the sense of like, I want to see if I can cry too. No, like understand that to be able to play that role, there's so much mental behind of it. And see if you as an actor are ready to go through that and ready to put yourself out like that, for your craft, because that honestly made me want to just push it even more in my
Mhm.
acting. It just makes me want to explore myself as a person more, because a lot of people I thought you were laughing.
No, I was just thinking about like after watching this, I like recited almost all like Shakespeare monologues I memorized. So I was like, "You're so right." Like after this, like I did feel like I need to push myself, and I started like mumbling all these like dialogues and monologues that I memorized years ago. Anyways,
But yeah, and it's just that like it, because also another thing from acting is the hardest part is the mental of it all, like just putting yourself out there. So it's like it definitely there's a lot of emotions here, and it's just yeah. I think if you're an actor, you should definitely watch this movie and push your craft even more, to you as a person be comfortable to be able to do these scenes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Any final thoughts before we do our rating?
I wrote symbolism. I think there was a
Mm.
few symbolism that really stood out to me, and that is, obvious. Like it's not nothing too deep. I know that there were some. I guess this is where my abstract comment came from. The clips of the cave. It like she would just randomly shoot the cave, and I'm like, is something gonna come out of
Oh, in
there?
the forest?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so obviously for me, the cave represents inner reflection, isolation, what is right or what is wrong, a space where grief is held and understood quietly. I feel like it's such a hidden spot that you can go to. Another symbolism for me was the bird,
Mm.
representing fleeting life, innocence, the soul, kind of like Hamlet. Sorry, Hamnet, not Hamlet. Hamnet. Because he did the when he kind of knew, I guess, that he was passing away, when he saw the door, the laced door, he like did the thing for the calling of the bird, and William did the calling of the bird when he was saying his whole monologue, to be or not to be. Very symbolic of life and death and reconnecting and being up there, I guess. I don't know. There
Clara.
is symbolism in the dresses, well, like in the costume, if I may. So Chloe did an interview, and she actually mentioned how the colors that she picked for William and Agnes,
Agnes. Agnes.
Agnes is based on the human chakra. So Shakespeare is blue because he's in his, it's the head chakra, I think, if I'm mistaken. That's what she said. So he's always up here, he's always in the sky, he's always in his head. And then Agnes is red chakra, which is lower in the body, down to earth, grounded, rooted. So I guess those colors too represent these characters in their characteristic ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, because I remember watching the movie. I was like, why is she always wearing red? Like, does she not shower or something? I was like, what is happening?
In my review, I also wrote, this whole film crushed me, and I'm grateful that it did.
Mm.
I think it's nice that I experienced such an experience. But it's preparing me for something in life. You know what I mean? So it's just very nice to see a movie this raw and real in some aspect, but like, it's real emotions. Like, I felt with these actors or characters, if I may. Like, I felt with this story. And like, so sorry, I'm rambling now. Williams, like, delivery of to be or not to be was like so, and that's symbolic too for me. Like, to live or not to live, to be a father or to not, to carry my son legacy or not, like, to grieve or not to grieve. Like, it was everything in the whole universe you can think of being mentioned in that one line, to be or not to be. And the way Paul Mescal freaking delivered it, it was amazing. And I think this movie is gonna stay with me forever. I will rate it 5 Shakespeare's, wait,
Out
10.
of 10.
10.
Sorry, I will rate it 10 Shakespeare's out of 10.
Hmm.
What about you, Clara? Is there any final thoughts in your rating?
Me. Yeah, that movie is also like gonna live in my head rent free, like as a reference for acting, as a reference of storytelling, as a movie that just like made me feel a lot, kind of like La La Land. I feel like La La Land was the first movie that made me really be like, oh damn, like life is hard. Sometimes you don't get a happy ending, and that one is gonna be like, damn, like the power of theater is just always gonna do it for me, and like this is why I do what I do. Um, yeah, pretty much like Nora. It's gonna stick with me, and that's why I'm gonna give it also 10 Shakespeare with Swagalicious glasses out of 10.
And for me, honestly, like I think both of you guys said what I've been thinking. And honestly, this movie is truly a masterclass on acting, directing, cinematography, story wise, like everything. It's just, yeah, no, no, but seriously, it's a really strong movie, and I recommend, if you haven't watched it, watch it.
Watch it.
And yeah, so me too. I would rate it a 10 out of 10. Honestly, it's a very strong movie, and like the emotions are just really there.
Guys, it's the first 10 out
It's
of a
our first 10
10
out of 10.
for
Oh my
everyone.
gosh.
Damn.
So 10 out of 10 Shakespeare's with Swagalicious glasses.
Yes, but
Yeah. So this is it for us. So like we keep mentioning, please follow us on all of our socials on our Insta, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and keep sharing our podcast. We really just want to grow and
Oh.
not just grow in the sense of, just have followers, but we want to grow like a community. So don't be afraid to give your opinions. Don't be afraid to tell us what you think about this movie or our opinions and just, if you agree or disagree. So please, we have a Google form on our link tree, so you guys can just go and tell your opinion there. And that's pretty much it for us.
Yes.
and we shall reel you back in for our next episode, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Adieu.
Adieu, adieu, adieu.
To be or
When-
not to be.
When shall we three meet again?
In
Lightning,
lightning,
thunder, or in the rain?
Okay, bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.